Hello everyone and welcome to the weekly recap for week 4. This was the week of upsets as most people are branding it, so it was a very interesting week to watch. So let's just get right into it. Lots of lower teams, or not really the low teams, but the middle teams looking stronger, and the top teams looking just a tad weaker and showing ways to beat them in the future weeks. So first, we got Echo Fox, who are sitting on the top of the standings. They went 2-0 this past week. They're looking more and more rough every week, even though they are still sitting at 7-1. I think they are looking like a rough 7-1 comparing to Cloud9, which is a very good 7-1. But furthermore, Dardoch on Zach needs to be banned out. Dardoch is looking extremely strong with those long-range engages, with Echo Fox always being able to engage from that far away. It just makes them very easy. It makes it easy to pull off their style, which is fight, fight, fight over and over. They don't need to position themselves well enough because Dardoch can just jump in on Zach and create havoc for the backline. Lots of games are getting extremely late. Like late game is happening almost every game for Echo Fox, which should be worrying for Echo Fox fans. You just never can really trust a team who can't get anything done in the early mid game, especially games against like Golden Guardians. I think it was on Saturday. Yes, Golden Guardians. They actually pulled. I think Echo Fox got ahead like 1,000 or 2,000 gold, and then Golden Guardians actually came back and was in a gold lead for a little bit, and they were even on kills. So Echo Fox not being able to withstand Golden Guardians mid game is a bit worrying, but their record does not show it. And lastly, Phoenix is secretly having an MVP split. His KDA is super good. He's participating in fights good enough with his kind of crazy team, just jumping all around the place in team fights. He is just showing some really good stats as well as team play. Moving on to Cloud9, they have a lot cleaner of 7-1 record. This weekend, they had an easy win against Team Liquid. It showed just their great decision making around all the objectives, and especially playing around top lane again. We don't really know if this is because Licorice isn't playing very well in scrims, so they're ganking a lot for him on stage and making him look good, or if he's just a really good player and they want him to carry even further. This will be probably shown in the next few weeks if they can stop doing that, if they can still have a strong top laner, because if your top laner constantly needs assistance, then it just isn't that strong of top laner. They had a tougher game against a rising FlyQuest. Cloud9 is still looking very strong in those mid-game team fights, like I said, but they did have a tough game against FlyQuest where they were pretty even for a long time, so that one definitely did not look as strong. Moving on to 100 Thieves, they had a 0-2 weekend. Afro looked like he kind of lost his brains for the weekend, and Sunday looked off. It was just shot calling was a bit iffy. They had that loss against Golden Guardians, so yeah, just not looking too good for them. Their other loss was to FlyQuest. So FlyQuest was looking good with their Wombo combo team comp that they had, and 100 Thieves just had no idea how to counter that. So yeah, they pretty much, I wouldn't say they got stomped both games, but they did not ever have control in the 2 games that they played this weekend. Moving on to Team Liquid, a 0-2 weekend for the very fast playing Team Liquid. They got stomped early in mid game by Cloud9 on Saturday. Pole Belter and Impact looked extremely rough. They just weren't able to hit their stuff. They weren't able to have an impact on the game or in team fights, so that was rough to watch. And then they had a good long game versus Echo Fox with some sloppy engages and disengages. And just the team fighting the whole weekend for Team Liquid was just not there at all. The Cloud9 game definitely, they just got out macroed, but the Echo Fox game, extremely sloppy team fights that they don't want to be looking to or forward to in the next few weeks, and they definitely want to clean that up before playoffs, because one team fight can decide a whole best of 5s in the playoffs. CLG, Counter Logic Gaming, they had a 0-2 weekend as well. They lost to Optic Gaming. Even though they camped top very well, they got Darshan fed. It looked like Darshan was a little too antsy with these kills, with this little extra gold power, so they weren't able to do much with that. And then the TSM fight, or the TSM game, the TSM was just better on that day. Stixie had bad positioning in a few fights, as well as some weird plays with Darshan and Rainover made for TSM just cleanly taking them out that game. Moving on to TSM, they had a 1-1 weekend. Probably should have been a 2-0. Their objective security with the game versus Clutch was extremely bad. I'm hoping that you can go check it out. Ezreal, I think, took 2 or 3, so 1 Infernal Drag and then a Baron, and I think maybe 1 more Dragon. I don't know for sure, but they 100% would have won with that Baron. So yeah, that one's kind of on Mike Young, and also they showed a lack of aggressiveness. Like when they got a mid-inhib, they just didn't push in for the win, even though I think 2 people on Clutch were down, so that just not looking too good. They're just the missed smites plus the non-aggression late game was just bad news. They look very scared, as some TSM teams have looked before. Although they did have a good aggression early game. They had a very spread out plan of what they wanted to do on the map early game, so that looked pretty good and kind of different than what we've seen of just teams camping over and over the same lane. TSM went to different went to different lanes, so that's pretty interesting to see. Then, like I said, they had a dominant looking game versus CLG. Even though TSM I think is even 4-4 or maybe 5-3, I don't think they have anything to worry about. Besides Mithy, everyone is looking extremely good, and the few close games that they... Alright, everyone, sorry about that. My video got lost again, which is super sad. And another reminder that I should probably buy a camera. Alright, moving forward, I was talking about TSM and just Mithy looking mediocre-ish mechanically, and just what we can see and what we hear just from the casters. So we don't know shot calling, but everyone else is looking super good on TSM. Moving on, we have Clutch Gaming. They, even with the few Baron steals and Dragon steals and all that stuff, TSM still, I think, looked better. Just Clutch Gaming just pulled out a win kind of out of their butts. However, they did have a solid win versus Optic, and even with a few missteps throughout the game in general, Clutch Gaming just looked better. So Clutch Gaming just looks like exactly what they look like in the standings. So yeah, not too much to say there. Even with the 2 wins this weekend, they don't look like a foundationally solid like playoff team. So if they make playoffs, I don't think they'll make it very far, just with their early mid-game pressure that they hold. Moving forward, FlyQuest. We got FlyQuest. I am on the super hype train that FlyQuest rocks. They finally have their mid laner Fly. He is back from having visa issues, and he played his map moving champs of Talia and Galio, which was super awesome to see. FlyQuest had a Wombo combo team comp that just smashed 100 Thieves, so that was very cool. And they even had a very nice looking game against Cloud9. Even though they lost, since Cloud9 is so strong, if you have this strong of game against Cloud9, it makes you as a team look good as well. So I think they're on the upswing with TSM, while CLG and Clutch are CLG and 100 Thieves are on the way down. So yeah, and lastly, Onda's just looking super solid. I think he should definitely be the pick for jungle. Optic Gaming, they went 1-1 this week. Last week I talked about Zig having some struggles in the top lane, dying a lot, just not having any pressure, and they controlled him a lot better. Acadian had very good structure and control of what he wanted to do in the jungle, and that made very good warding throughout the whole weekend for Optic, and it just got their teammates killed less in the lane, less ganks and things like that. So yes, although Power of Evil, Zig, and Acadian are looking good, I still think Arrow and Lemonation are still extremely underwhelming. If it keeps going like this, I do not see this bot lane staying the same going into the summer split. Overall, 1-1 week for Optic, which is good. Looking at their record, if they can pull any wins, it's good for them. And lastly, Golden Guardians got their first win, super big. They also almost took down Echo Fox. So they first took down 100 Thieves. They secondly took down 100 Thieves on Sunday. Huge first win for them. They looked much better than 100 Thieves and much better than weeks in the past. So hopefully this is an upswing for them. And also on Saturday, they had a chance to win against Echo Fox. It was like Echo Fox almost gave them the game, but then the last team fight, High just went like half a screen forward on Galio and just kind of killed himself. Honestly, his team just wasn't close enough to follow up, so that was a bummer to watch. But I mean, it'll all be okay, I guess. And they probably weren't meant to win that game anyway. But huge first win for the Golden Guardians, and I hope they get a few more the rest of the split. Moving on to next week, since Sunday it will be the 10th game. That means that the games start repeating. They start playing the same opponents for a second time. So it should be super awesome to watch the replications of the games. On Saturday, though, first we have C9 and TSM playing. Should be interesting. I definitely give it to C9, though. Unless TSM can bring some extremely difficult top lane pressure that Licorice just can't deal with, and he kind of shows his rookie level and like stops communicating and stops working like he should, I don't see TSM taking it to a win. And next we got Clutch Gaming and FlyQuest. These middle tier teams should be a super good game. And lastly, Golden Guardians and Optic should also be a very close game because they are so close in the standings and have looked so similar in the past. Moving on to Sunday, we got the rematch of Echo Fox and Cloud9, which should be extremely interesting. And lastly, 100 Thieves and CLG is the rematch of Afro playing his old teammates. So yes, some super exciting matches this week, and I am super excited. So yeah, let me know if you see anything that you want in these videos. Otherwise, see you next week.
I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.